Have you ever wondered what happens to the book that I never finish, or the one the world chooses to forget? Welcome to the Library of Lost Hearts. Hello everyone, I am Nur Ismail binti Ismaili, representing SMA Khairia. Today, I would like to talk about a book that truly captivated me. Library of Lost Hearts, written by none other than the author of Inkling and Not Here to Stay, and M. Afrina. This book is a short story anthology. To be honest with you, I fell in love with this book from the very first sight. I mean, look at its cover. Isn't it just so beautiful? A heart-shaped bookshelf filled with things that represent each story, making it feel like each story inside is an emotion that is yet to be discovered. What made this book stand out so much is its idea of a moving library where books appear, disappear, and are kept safe. This felt so alive. This book follows the story of Amber. Amber is the owner of the moving library. One day, she found herself stumbling across a book that suddenly appeared out of nowhere. From the very first line she read, she was drawn into it. Then, more and more of this book kept appearing, each of them carrying emotion that is forcing us to stay and refusing to be forgotten. These books does not carry normal stories, but it carries rock story. Rock story is the stories that are either unfinished, rejected, or simply forgotten, cast aside by heartbroken writers. Through Amber, we get to enter the world where stories and books are not just written, but feels real. This book mainly focuses on the character Amber and Kenanga. Amber is supposed to represent a side of us that tries to stay strong, while Kenanga, on the other hand, is a side of us that silently struggles inside. Together, they show us something real and powerful. Out of all the stories in this book, I like Mariposa the most. Mariposa is about a caterpillar who is afraid of growing up. As time goes by, she finally turns into a butterfly. But despite already turning into a butterfly, she kept going back to her cocoon, saying that it makes her feel safe, not knowing that the very same safe place is the one that is weakening her. This story shows something simple, yet true. Growing up doesn't always feel nice. Sometimes it could be overwhelming and even scary. And that is the part that stays with me the most. As I mentioned, Mariposa is my favorite story. It is probably because of how relatable it is. Mariposa is not just any story. It talks about the struggle of someone who is trying to be in a new environment and grows into a new person. When I was 13, everything felt so overwhelming. I had just entered a new school, and honestly, I don't want to be there. The idea of spending the next 5 years and making new friends is just too much. So instead of trying, I started pulling away. Then I started noticing changes in myself. I started talking less, I started losing my confidence, and even losing the sparks I once had in life. In times like this, I often turn to books because they are the only way for me to escape this cruel reality. That's when I pick up Library of Lost Heart. When I read Mariposa's story, I don't just understand the storyline, but I feel it. As I kept reading and reading, I realized something even deeper. I wasn't losing myself. I was just afraid. Afraid of growing up, afraid of being in a new place, and afraid of changing. Just like Mariposa. This book teaches me that even when growing feels uncomfortable, it doesn't mean we are losing who we are. We are just not used to the person we are becoming. Dear listener, please remember that for you to find the truth, you must be lost first. Because only in desperate search for a way out which you have accidentally stumbled upon realization, just like Mariposa. So don't be too hard on yourself. You still have time to figure it all out. Overall, Library of Lost Heart mixes fantasy with real emotion. The inner struggle in this book are not just a part of a story, but something we felt in real life too. Just like Amber and Kenanga, we all have different sides within ourselves, and learning to accept all of it is a part of growing up. One thing that I like about this book is the idea of a moving library, where the moving library keeps forgotten story and emotion, reminding us that even the emotion we try to ignore still matters. So, to conclude it all, I would like to leave you with a question. If your heart were a library, would you dare to read every story inside, even the one you are avoiding? That's all for me. Thank you for lending me your ears. I hope to meet you again in another day. Goodbye!